Lesson 77 is about converting units of weight and mass. And remember, back in lesson 74, we just did converting of units of length. And remember, in lesson 74, we had a table in that lesson that had U.S. customary system units and also metric system units for length. Here, if you look on page 398, we have a table for U.S. customary systems for weights and metric system units for weights. Let's just go ahead and write those down, and that will help us remember them better. Okay, and you do need to memorize these if you haven't got them memorized already. So 16 ounces, that's the same thing as 1 pound. And we're just using the abbreviations here. OZ, that's short for ounces, O-U-N-C-E-S. And then LB, that's short for pounds, P-O-U-N-D. And then 2,000 pounds, that's equal to 1 ton. And then the metric conversion that we need to memorize is 1,000 grams is equal to 1 kilogram. kg. K stands for kilo, K-I-L-O. And I've written some of those abbreviations and the word that goes with that particular abbreviation up at the top of the board. Ounce is equal to O-U-N-C-E. LB, that's the same thing as pound. And then kg, that stands for kilogram. G stands for gram, in case you didn't know that. So the K in kg, that stands for kilo, and the G in kg, that stands for the gram. And the M in mg stands for milli, so that's like a milligram. And then they say there at the bottom that on Earth a kilogram is a little more than 2 pounds, and a metric ton is about 2,200 pounds. And in fact, a kilogram is pretty much exactly 2.2 pounds. Now, before we do this practice problem, just so you know, weight and mass really are two different things. On the Earth, though, if you get outside of the Earth, weight and mass are different things. But on the Earth, we can just use weight and mass to mean the same thing. Mass, to be real specific, and they don't really say it very well, I don't think, in this lesson. Mass, that tells how much material you're made of. But weight, that tells you how much material you have and then how gravity affects that amount of material. For example, on the Earth, you'll have the same mass, you'll have the same amount of material as you would if you were standing on the moon. But the gravity is different, and weight is a measure of how gravity affects your mass. And so you would weigh more on the Earth than you would on the moon, but in both places you would have the same amount of material. So for our class and for this textbook, we're just going to use weight and mass to mean the same thing, because we'll just be talking about problems dealing with the Earth. So let's do this practice problem A here. It says 1/4 of a ton is how many pounds? Okay, well, we look up there and we see our conversion that 2,000 pounds is equal to 1 ton. So 1/4 of a ton, then, we'd have to divide 2,000 pounds into 4 equal parts. And so let's just do a division problem. 4 goes into 20 exactly 5 times. Bring down a 0. 4 goes into that 0 times. Bring down another 0. 4 goes into that 0 times. So it would be 500. Remember, on these conversions, we have to write our units. That's half of our answer. And so we would say 1/4 of a ton is 500 pounds. Let's do another one. 2 pounds is how many ounces? Well, if 1 pound is 16 ounces, then 2 pounds would equal 16 times 2. And that is equal to 32. And then we can say OZ for short, 32 ounces. 2 pounds would equal 32 ounces. You can look on a box of cereal at home, or it doesn't have to be cereal. Anything that you buy in a package, they'll usually list at the bottom of that package, they'll have a weight in pounds. They'll have, those are the U.S. customary system units, and then they'll have the metric system units as well. And that's a good way to help you understand and compare those two units for measure. Let's do one more. 64 ounces of rice is how many pounds of rice? Let's just think about this. We have 64 ounces of rice. 16 ounces is equal to 1 pound. So 64 ounces, that's equal to 16 times what? How many pounds? That would be 4, right? 16 times 4 is 64. And so that means our answer is 4 pounds. 64 ounces of rice is the same thing as 4 pounds of rice. Okay, so make sure that you memorize those equivalent measures, the U.S. customary system and metric system measures for weight on page 398. Okay, well that's all for lesson 77.